All right, let's go ahead and look at number 2. The angle and twice the complement is 150. Find the complement of the angle. So I know I might have just said, hey, what if let's just take it slow. Okay, people? The angle and twice the complement is 150. So the angle plus twice my complement, that is 150. And the complement, remember, if I add let me get my colors. If my angle, normally my angle plus the complement is 90. The angle and twice the complement is 150. The angle plus the complement is 90. Man, y'all, if you know how to solve systems of equations by elimination, this is almost too easy, right? I'm just going to do, I can't resist, right? If we subtract this equation, angle plus complement equals 90, from this equation right here, or maybe just think about it. If I'm adding the angle plus the complement, and that's 150, versus the angle just plus the complement, and that's 90, well, right? If I subtract these two equations, 150 minus 90 is 60. 2 complement minus complement is just 1 complement. And angle minus angle, well, that cancels out. That's just 0. So then the complement is 60 degrees. Man, I just couldn't resist. That was just too sweet. Right? And so this is the beauty of taking some time and putting down the equations at the very beginning. That question took me like 5 seconds. And yeah, we could have done some things like said the complement equals 90 minus the angle, and then plugged that in and solved for the angle, and then found the complement. But this is just straightforward, easy money, slam dunk, right? I don't want you, this is why knowing algebra is so important, even for geometry, right? Because if you know how to solve by elimination, if you know how to solve systems of equation by elimination, this problem is way easier. Let's do number 3. The measure of the supplement of an angle is 12th greater than 3 times the measure of the complement. Find the measure of the angle and its supplement. Okay, so the measure of the supplement of an angle, what color did I use for supplement up there? Orange. The measure of the supplement is 12 greater than 3 times the complement. So 3 times the complement plus 12. Okay. We're looking for the measure of the angle and its supplement. So I really care more about the supplement here, but I'll write both because both are important. So remember, the angle plus the supplement, that's 180. The angle plus the complement is 90. So I've got all these equations right here. And I know that the supplement equals 3 times the complement plus 12. So I think we want to get one equation with just one variable, right? And, there's a number of ways that we could do this. But I think generally a strategy that will always work, I'm not even sure if this is the best strategy, but it is a strategy. And, okay, that's the great thing about math. There's a lot of strategies to solving this problem. And in my brain right now, I'm thinking through all these different ways. Maybe I could substitute this here and do systems, do some elimination. Maybe I can move this over here, move that over there, and do some substitution, right? There's a lot of different ways that we could solve, but for your sake, Well, I would encourage you to just maybe try some out before going on in this video, right? Maybe pause and take a second to try to solve this and solve it your own way and see what you get. What I'm going to do is, because I think this is a tried and true strategy, I'm going to subtract the angle from both sides. And if you don't like using, like I said earlier, these words, if you would rather just use one letter, that would give me S is equal to 180 minus A, right, minus my angle. In the same way, C, the complement, is equal to 180 minus A. Okay, so now I can replace the supplement with 180 minus A. Sorry, I don't know. I keep doing this in my videos. The complement is not 180 minus A, right? Obviously, the complement is 90 minus A. Thank you very much. Okay, so now I can replace the supplement with 180 minus A and the complement with 90 minus A. So let's do that. 180 minus A equals 3 times, parentheses, 90 minus A plus 12. Okay, now let's simplify this side of the equation. 180 minus A equals 270 minus 3A plus 12. Okay, simplifying this, we'll go step by step. 180 minus A equals 282 minus 3A. I'm going to add 3A to both sides and subtract 180 from both sides. That leaves me with 2A equal to 102, which means that A is equal to 51, right? If you divide both sides by 2. A is 51. Okay, so that's A. A is 51, and then the supplement is 180 minus A. So my supplement equals, and I'm just going to do it, 180 minus 51, which is 129. So there's my supplement. There is my angle. And, you know, like I said, you could find I've said this before, you could find the complement, and then you could see if the supplement equals 3 times the complement plus 12 to check your answer. Okay, one more problem. And again, I just can't emphasize this enough. If I were solving this on my own, I'm not even sure if I would have solved it this way. I would say there's a better way to solve this. But this way is nice, it's tried and true, and it will work for most questions. It just might be a little bit brute force sometimes. So try to think, how can I elegantly solve this problem? Okay. Let's prove something. We're given that 5 is congruent to 6, and I want to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Okay, so normally we would have up here, and I think that this is probably a mistake, we should have at the very beginning angle 5 is congruent to angle 6 because that's given to us. Always write your givens. Okay. Now the first step, saying that angle 5, oh, I guess they wrote it down here. Well, that's fine. Okay. So I guess angle 5 congruent to angle 1. Well, that's the vertical angle theorem. I'll write it all the way out for you. You could write VAT, I don't mind. The vertical angle theorem. 5 and 1 are formed by the same lines. They're across from each other, so they are congruent. Okay, now 5 congruent to 6, that's given. I got ahead of myself a little bit. But I would probably, I like to list my givens first. You don't have to, though. but I would say I usually do. Okay, angle 2 congruent to angle 6, that's also the vertical angle theorem. And I guess I should capitalize the T. Now, angle 5 congruent to, because I said angle 5 is congruent to angle 1, angle 5 is congruent to angle 6, and angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, I could write something like this. Angle 5 congruent to angle 6 congruent to angle 2. Oh, this is not even the steps I would have done this proof in. That's fine. Sometimes we have to think someone else's way. So I could say this, right? Angle 5 is congruent to angle 6, which is congruent to angle 2. So by the transitive property of equality, I can say that angle 5 is congruent to angle 2. And sorry, I said equality, I meant, I'm just going to write it because that's kind of small. Congruence. Transitive property of congruence. Okay, and then now, okay, I can just, because I know that angle 5 is congruent to angle 1, sorry if you can hear Sunny in the background, she's just living her best life. Right, angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. That was congruent to angle 6, which was congruent to angle 2. Well, now I can say angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 by the transitive property of congruence. Property of congruence. And there's your proof, right? Now, I don't ever want you to use double transitive, right? If you have to use multiple steps where you're using the transitive property, for example, I had to say 5 was congruent to 2 before I could say 1 was congruent to 2. You need to list both of those steps. Don't mess around with double transitive. Okay, that's the video. I hope this was helpful and gave you some ideas of how you might use these different properties of angle pairs to solve problems and to complete or logic your way through proofs.